Let's talk about the top 5 reasons you're not booking interviews. It's a crazy job market out there. It's hyper competitive. There's a lot of fear in the media. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can 2 to 5x your response rate from recruiters by making sure you're not making these 5 big pitfalls that most people are when it comes to their job search, because the strategies that worked 2 and 3 years ago do not work today. It's a completely different job market. AI, technology, the hyper competition in the job market means we're playing a completely different game. So let's jump straight into it. The first biggest mistake people make in their job market that makes sure they get almost 0 interviews is not having an ATS optimized resume. What is that? The ATS is an acronym for the software baked into LinkedIn, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all these different platforms that scan your resume and your LinkedIn to see if your background experience matches the job posting, and those algorithms will determine if you show up on the first page or the last page of applicants for the recruiter. So it's extremely important that you have a resume that is optimized to be interpreted by that system. What does that mean? You can get a very simple ATS friendly template from me personally if you check down below, but make sure you pick a resume template that's very simple, because most people will go and find these creative, really unique looking resume templates on the internet. But the unfortunate part is when the AI system interprets that, if it has unique formatting, that system oftentimes isn't intelligent enough to actually determine, oh, these are the skills, this is the experience. It doesn't know how to interpret and read the data. So you want to have a really simple resume that lets the system see clearly, this is the job experience, this is the skills section, this is the education, and then they can interpret your experience so that they can determine that you are a good fit for that role. That's most important, is formatting, getting that dialed in just by itself, 3x the amount of interview requests you're getting from recruiters. 2 is quantification. Once you get the ATS part down, the next is showing your impact on your resume. There are 2 big mistakes that happen here. The first is no quantification at all, or very little. That would look like not quantifying anything on your resume. So just talking about what you've done, what your skills are, describing the activities you did in your job. I would hope you're not that behind and you know that quantification is important. But second, which is more common, is the wrong type of quantification, meaning you're talking more about the things you've done in your role. Like, I send out 3,000 emails per month, or I manage a team of 20 people. No one cares. So how do you do this? The quantification should focus on dollar value impact as much as possible. I say for every 5 lines on your resume, 2 of those lines should have a dollar value correlated to either revenue impact, so profit, sales, or cost savings. And a lot of people get hung up on, oh, I don't know the exact number. Neither does the recruiter. So as long as you feel good about the number you put forward and it feels like it's in integrity or it's a very realistic number, just go for it, because quantification is so important. Now, I'm going to share the last 3 reasons you're likely not getting interviews. But if you do just these first 2 things correctly and well, I guarantee you'll see a large increase in the number of recruiters that reach out to you. This is an example of Jamie. He's a client of ours, and we put him through this entire process. And he went from having no interviews for months to over 7 interviews per week as a product manager. So if you want to get access to some of these resources that our clients do, just for you YouTube guys, we're giving you free access to our Resume Accelerator course. You can click down below and get access to that program today. Number 3 is the volume of applications you're getting out. Even if you have a great resume and you've done those other things, if you're getting out, let's say 100 applications per week, which is on the high end for most people, you're not doing enough. Here's why. 300 to 500 people apply to every single job out there, and maybe 10 of them, 15 of them are going to get interviews max. So even if you have an amazing resume, you need to apply to 100 jobs to get 1 interview on average. Your time is the bottleneck. And if you only have an hour or 2 a day to apply, you're not going to get the job done. So for us, we'll talk about it later in the video, we have a system that helps people get out at least 1,000 applications per month, meaning they'll get that large number of interviews as long as their resume is good. So we'll talk about that later, but you should really just hone in on the question, how can I get out at least 1,000 applications per month? Some ways to do that are hiring people in the Philippines, using AI, using outsourcing. We do a combination of all 3. We'll talk about that in another video. 4 is not having unique differentiation. What do I mean by that? This means these recruiters are looking at hundreds and hundreds of applications per week. And even if you have a good resume, it's solid, if there's no wow factor for you and your background and your experience, they're not really going to emotionally connect with you and want to talk to you. So how do you do that? Especially when you have a system applying to jobs on your behalf, this frees up your time to make sure you're doing a few things. Working on a personal portfolio, having a personal brand that positions you as a thought leader. I was able to go from earning $80K as a product manager, and the next job I landed was at $160K as a senior product manager, even though I wasn't really qualified to do it. But what differentiated me was I started a podcast, I built a personal brand website, And I built a mobile app with a software engineer who actually built it. I just built a website for it. And all those three things combined positioned me as a thought leader and an innovator. And I was able to get more value from companies that were going to hire me. And number 5 is not having an optimized LinkedIn. This is one of the biggest ones, because even if you have an amazing resume, if you're applying to jobs on LinkedIn, which most of you are, that ATS algorithm is scanning every corner of your LinkedIn and baking that into the algorithm of how soon in the results page they're going to show you to the recruiter. So you could have a perfect resume, but if your LinkedIn is not optimized, you're going to show up at the back of that list. So what do we mean by that? That's your headshot. That's your background image. That's your about section. That's the skills section on your LinkedIn. It's how you write about your jobs in the description. It's how much content you've been putting out lately and how high quality is it. So all those things go into it. And if you don't have an optimized, dialed LinkedIn, you're very unlikely to get interviews. And even if you apply to jobs on a different platform like Indeed or ZipRecruiter, recruiters want to be able to see you and connect with you and see if you seem normal and like a person who would be a culture fit. And if they go to a LinkedIn profile that has no picture or it's unoptimized or seems dead, they're probably going to choose one of the other 450 applicants for that role and not talk to you. So these are the top 5 reasons people do not book interviews this year. Hopefully you're implementing this feedback. You're taking advantage of these 5 areas and making sure you're optimized and dialed. And if you're here, you've been struggling on your job search and feel like you could use some extra support, I highly encourage you to click down below, book a call with me and my team for a short 15-minute strategy session to understand your goals and see if some of our services might be a fit to make sure you land in a remote 6-figure job in the next 2 to 3 months. We want to help you get there. Have a great day. Talk to you later.